Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to talk about Python functions. So specifically, I'm going to talk about basic function creation, functions with parameters, functions with return values, and I'm going to talk about more examples. So let's start with basic function creation. Let me uncomment this line of code. So how do we define a function? We define a function by saying def, which stands for definition, and the name of the function, and open and close parentheses and colon. And automatically that the next line of code will be indented. So in this case, the print function is indented. And line 5 is basically what I'm doing here is I'm calling the function. I'm calling it by using its name, which is show underscore connection and open and close parentheses. So I'm not putting any arguments or parameters in this case. So if I run this code, I will only see connection or connecting to network device, because that's what this function is doing. It's just printing a string, or string. So if I run this, it will give me an error because of this. So I need to just comment this or put a hashtag in front of this line so that Python will not interpret it as a comment. So if I run this code again, okay. So because of the indented, so it has to be like that. Let me run it again. Now we only see this line connecting to network device. Okay, so that's how you just create and call a function. And number 2 is functions with parameters, and actually with parameters and arguments. So let me uncomment this code. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually defining a function called connect device, and I'm passing this parameter called, or just adding this parameter called device underscore IP. And this is how you pass a parameter within the function. And the function will basically print this string. And so parameter is equivalent to variable in this case, because in reality, this is what device underscore IP is. It's just a variable. So in this line here, line number 10, I'm just calling that variable. So I'm using f string in this case. And I'm actually just uncomment this first. So line number 12, this is where I'm calling the function connect to device, and I'm adding this argument. So in this case, this IP is an argument. And like I said, device underscore IP is a parameter, which is also a variable. So if I run this code, I expect that the function will print this string plus the device IP, which is this. Connecting to device, the IP. Yeah, that's the expected output. And let me go ahead with example number 2, comment that code. So here, the difference is we have more than one parameters and arguments. So this argument is called positional argument, and these arguments are called key arguments. But this here is still called parameter, and these are parameters. So what I'm doing here is I'm passing in this argument to this. Actually, this is called key. That's why it's called key arguments, and this is the value of the key. Same here. So if I run this, or before I run it, let me show you this option here, which is so if I do it that way, the function will still print the correct variables, because we are using key arguments in this case. If I run it, device 10.10.10.1 is using VLAN 10. So this is a function that includes key arguments. Comment this, make this code as comment. And number 3 is functions with return values. So if I uncomment this code and indent it. So here, what I'm doing here is basically I have this function, and I have this parameter, and I have this, I'm calling the function, and I'm just passing in this argument. So basically what the function will do is return this statement here, or this string, because in this case we have conditionals. So elif is the one that will work in this or will catch this argument here. So let me run this code. So now we see that this code is returning or printing this string here. Okay, let me make this code as comments. And number 4 is basically more examples where, let me just talk about this one. Example number 1. So here, what I'm doing is basically I have individual variables. So instead of putting, the value itself, I have variables that I'm passing in variables as arguments, which is device_1 and device_2. If I run this, function will just print the device name and print this for both colors. So these are called colors, but I need to remove the indentation. So now it runs smoothly. And last but not least, I have this example number 2. So in this case, I'm using, hold on, I need this as well here. Okay, so here I'm using list of switches. So what I'm doing here is, because I have list of switches, I'm using a for loop. So basically what this loop is going to do is basically reiterate through this list. So this will, the for loop will be performed on every list, on every switch. And we're gonna basically see these line 50 and line 51 3 times. If you look at the for loop, let me explain this for loop. So for loop, so basically this is the syntax. For space, switch is the variable, space in part of this for loop syntax, and this here is a list. So the for loop will reiterate the list. So it will reiterate through the switches, and it will run it will call the function and basically put this argument. So this is a positional argument, and this will be switch 1, and then it will run for switch 2 as well and switch 3. So let me run this command. Yeah. So we have discussed about basic function creation, how you create and call a function. We have discussed the function with parameters, both arguments and parameters. And we have discussed about a function with return value. So the return value will actually be returned to the caller. So in this case, the caller is this. And so that's why, if I do it again, so that's why when we print this, we get this string, because the return value is basically assigning to this caller. Let me run it again. And we talked about more examples. So a variable or a function with individual variables as arguments, and a function with for loop that is calling the function itself and passing in the argument, positional argument. So that's all I want to talk about in this video. Thanks for watching.